Hello, this is Brandon with RPG Overviews, and we're going to be taking a look at the Dungeon Crawl Classics Holiday Module number 12, Love Mutants of Castle Heartache by Brendan LaSalle. So it is for levels 3. I will be spoiling everything in it, of course. You can pick it up in PDF on DriveThruRPG, which is not a bad idea to go to get the PDF, and I'll show you why here in a minute. But I'll also have a link down to the Goodman Games website if you want to try to pick up the physical copy, should it be available in their stock. So, yeah, neat cover. We got some red foil here, some gold, but really the nipple and the tongue is prevalent right there in the front. This is apparently Harley, if you know who he is. Stephen Pogue did the cover of this. It's a pretty good cover. And so it's not very long, so it's only $10 in the print version. And I think it's about 15 pages, but it's a meaty 15 pages. So let's go ahead and spoil this for everybody. Let's take a look through it. So on the inside cover, we have these Valentine's Day cards that you can destroy the cover of your book if you'd like to cut them out. That's why I say you should probably get the PDF. That way you can have these, print them out on a hard card stock, and hand them out. And they're on the other side too of the cover, as you can see here. So a pretty neat little addition to add into it, because this is a loved themed adventure. Here we got some cool art again by Stefan, and these are the Love Mutants. This is Castle Heartache right there, and let's dive in. So this is a story once again of these kind of cosmic beings, the Ungod. I'll try to not butcher some of these names. I do my best. It's designed for 4 to 6 characters, levels 3. You've got Olathvi, the Mad One, the Ungod, that feeds upon the creation and destruction of the bonds of passion between mortals. Well, what he did was he decided to go and find the object of his affection, which was this sorceress. Her name is Durjadella, and she is trying to transcend her mortal form and become a patron. And so he tried to get her attention by doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. He put roses all over the moon, and he summoned the shades of ancient musicians to play love songs underneath her window, and he wrote 10,000 poems in starlight in the night sky above her research tower. Well, she wasn't having any of it, and she said, no thank you. Well, this destroyed him. This crushed his heart, and so he's just an absolute mess. He was dejected on a scale incomprehensible to mortals. He took to his enormous clawfoot tub in a terrible sulk. His emotional misery filled the entire universe until there was nothing left in his breast but pain. In a final fit of anguish, the Ungod ripped out his own soul, tore it apart, and flung the fragments into his dungeon, thus creating the Castle Heartache. So all of his guards and servants, all extensions of the demi-plane itself, were then transformed into love mutants, cursed creatures twisted and warped by their sudden disconnection to the cosmic passion that created them. And so the love mutants snatched up the portions of their master's soul and hid them away, creating wards and protections around them. So guess what? You're going to have to go and get those. That's pretty obvious. But his heartbreak spread across the universe. It effectively broke up every relationship in the universe in one fell swoop. Everyone alive now is both utterly repulsed by the one they formerly loved and aches to be near them again. So, yeah, that's not good for the rest of the universe. So you have been given an invitation, such as this, by his Central, whose name is, I'm going to try to say it here, Sanguicaldo is his name, and he is the only hope for his master, and the universe will be to summon heroes to brave the dungeons of Castle Heartache, to collect the fragments of his soul, and face the love mutants of Castle Heartache. So you're going to get this invitation. It'll tell you that you need to come. You'll get glory and riches, and you'll have transportation for you. If you say yes, you're immediately taken to the demi-plane of Castle Heartache. And so this is one of the very much the tropes of DCC, where you've got cosmic beings, you've got a strange place, and sometimes it kind of pulls you out of your normality and puts you into some bizarre dungeon or thing that you've got to try to tackle. So this adventure, I would say, while short, definitely has a lot of the DCC tropes that they're known for, in essence. So it's going to tell you about the castle. The castle is very interesting. All the stairs go down in every direction. So that's interesting. The walls are carved from living rock. And this is going to be a dungeon, like a catacomb type level of the castle. There's some rules in there. I'm going to tell you in a minute here about how you can go up the castle if you want, but it's not very fruitful. Because obviously it's a massive castle. You're not going to be able to explore it all. It's not a huge mega dungeon or anything like that. And so there's some bad stuff that's going on in this place. Just overall that happens to you. It's got a weird vibe to it. You're struck with a particularly depressive form of insomnia. The adventurers may not recover hit points, spells, luck points, ability damage, or disapproval in the demi-plane of Heartache through mundane means. That's terrible. So yeah, you don't want that. And there's secret doors. And when you're teleported there, you're going to be in there. We're going to have the map right here. It's on page 7. I kind of wish it was in the front or back, but it's all well and good. You're going to show up here at the portcullis. Great map. It's going to show you all where to go. There is one thing I'm going to tell you about that I wish that they had done when they were drawing this map, just to help you out whenever we get to the actual map part of the book. So you got the castle exterior. There's all these love mutants out there. When you get teleported there, you can see these adventurers who are wearing just, in my opinion, very generic looking, almost comical outfits. They're all going crazy outside, but this huge bleak champion is what it's called, comes out and tries to destroy you. You can see it's an absolute freak. It's exactly what this picture depicts here, but it shoots out these frost bolts and stuff like that, and it's yelling about down with love, and its mouth continuously expels a dense freezing mist that surrounds its body. So it's a very interesting looking creature. And maybe if your players are smart or have some sort of... This adventure does a thing that DCC does a lot, where if you have just a moment of kind of strange what-if idea and you try it out, it's probably going to work for you. It may work out for you. You might as well try it. Embraces that in the adventure. If you start shouting out back to him stuff like, hey, what about the unbeatable power of hope or love? It may shock the champion into thinking about the truth of its existence. And it'll, in essence, you do a little fight back and forth with some saving throws, and it may stun it for one round. So you're probably going to kill this thing. And then Sanguicaldo is going to show up. It's going to be kind of like Willy Wonka. He's going to let you in through the portcullis to come in. He wants to see your invitations. And all well and good. And he looks like a normal dude. He's got salt and pepper hair, so on and so forth. He's going to take you into the foyer as it lifts. And the first thing that's going to happen is your character's clothing are immediately going to change. It says the character's outfits instantly morph into deeply romantic attire. So it's going to be of an appropriately romantic theme, gothic or corpse face or sad poetic attire to match the gloom. Even with new hairstyles and makeup to match. So you have to get into that depressed feeling with your outfit. You can either stay like that or not. So here they tell you about the upper castle. You can go up there. You can figure out how to climb up there. Maybe use ropes or stuff. But it's going to be very kind of big and void of stuff. You might have one room and there might be like a teddy bear in there or like a black rose or a sad gargoyle statue. Things like that. It's not very much to it, but hopefully your players will get bored of that and come on back down to where the action is. So he's going to take you to the clawfoot bath of exquisite misery. Here is where we see the huge mad god and his big tub. It looks very cool looking piece of art. You have these normal sized guys. I guess they're feeding him wine as he is in just distraughtness there in his tub full of water. And this is where you're going to be explained what you need to do. You've got to get these pieces of his heart. They're going to look like little puzzle pieces. And when they're within 5 feet, they're going to attach together. So once all 5 of those together, you've got his heart. And it's an interesting little encounter here for you to be able to roleplay Olvathi here and see what he says. He says that you may keep any other riches that they find, so that's good. And but the Sanguicaldo cannot leave his master's side, in essence. He's an extension of the Mad God's demi-realm, representing the last vestiges of the Ungod's compassion and drive for self-preservation. Well, one thing is interesting is that Olvathi says, hey, go take a look in the globe. And this is the snow globe of missing souls, and allows them to find a glimpse of their soulmate. So that's interesting, and we'll talk about that in the back in the Appendix 1. So that's cool. And it says, if anybody climbs the scaffolding and jumps into his tub, I don't know who would do that, but once again, this is DCC players, and they tend to do some wacky stuff, and that's not going to be great for them. It's pretty much just they're going to find themselves in a black ocean during a torrential thunderstorm. They're getting tossed around violently, and they're in danger of drowning. Hopefully, one of the other player characters will drop a rope or something to be able to get them out. It's going to come from the sky. So we've got different, we're going to go on a little path here. Okay, this is almost like a little Candyland type map. And we're looking for those pieces of his soul. And when we do, we're going to be entering in these wacky rooms with crazy stuff going on, and very much kind of the DCC feel to it. And there'll be some things that'll smack your hand if you try to do something that looks, how can I say, enticing. So like the Fountain of Tears here, you're going to see this fountain. It's pretty cool, but there's all these coins in there. So your player characters might be like, oh, I want to try to grab one. Well, if you grab one, the Lacrimation Elemental, which you can see here, which I do enjoy this artwork, he's going to show up. He's got one big fist. He's made up of all the tears of the lonely and brokenhearted. And he means to spread delicious misery and pain to any who ask for it by disturbing his water. So he's going to try to beat your ass. You're going to have to fight him. He's got some neat things going on with him. He's immune to critical hits and non-magical weapons, so that's going to be tough. But if you're able to beat him, then you can get those coins out of there, and they end up being about 300 gold. So it's interesting. And then you're going to go on to the next room. So here's one of the things I want to say. The map is cool. The writing, everything's fine. Everything's normal. But you've got these 5 pieces of his soul. It would have been great and very useful, because I kind of got lost about exactly where each one of these pieces were when I was reading this. It'd be nice if beside this 1.3 or 1.5 or whatever the case may be, there was a little key, I guess you'd call it, a little puzzle piece. There you go, a little puzzle piece showing you that was one of the rooms that houses part of his soul. That would have been fantastic. So you're going to have you're going to go here. This is the Lonesome Captive. Cool encounter there with some heavy-handed guards. They're beating up or roughing up and yelling at this Lonesome Captive who looks like this. So he's weird, but you can see his arms are outstretched. All he wants is a hug. So that's interesting. I don't know how many players will realize that with his arms outstretched just to give him a hug, because when you immediately open up his cage, his long tail wraps around everybody instantly. So you have to kind of do a reflex save about that. It's going to hinder you. A lot of people are probably going to kill this guy unless somebody in the party just happens to be kind of smart and says, hey, you know what? His arms look like he wants a hug. Let's give him a hug. And that's going to make him revert back to his original form. He'll kind of point you on to the next direction you need to go for one of these soul pieces. It's going to tell you about a secret door that's there in his cage, and then you come across the sad clown. And so we're going to go back. Here we go. I need to just keep my hand right there on 7. We're going to go. We're here. You see, you've got the Lonesome Captive. There's going to be an envelope whenever you open that up. The envelope will have a key. One of the pieces. I say key. I don't know why. It's going to have one of the puzzle pieces. It's not a puzzle piece. It's his soul. It's going to have that in there. So there's some things that show you, but it'd been nice to have some sort of visual reminder that that's going to be one of the pieces of his soul. So this envelope's going to show up and just give you the puzzle piece. Here's the stage with the tears of the clown. So you got this clown here, and he's singing in some romantic language that you don't know, and he's just going to keep on singing. It says that he ignores the PC as much as they can and attempts to flee if attacked. And as the PCs ask for directions, the clown points west towards the door leading to Area 1-8. Now, he doesn't speak in their language unless you've got some form or way to understand what he's singing. If you do, it's going to be very beneficial for you, because it's going to be this long, about an hour-long song, and you're going to know because he's going to start saying the names of his song is going to go all the way up to the current, what's happening right now. And if you listen to it all, it's going to give each of the PCs 3 experience points, which is nothing to sneeze at, of course. So he's going to point you to 1-8, which is going to take you here, right in the middle there. You're going to have the scrapbooks of Memory Laney. This was his scribe, the crazy god here, who's gone just absolutely distraught because of this woman. She's his scribe, so there's tons of books in here, and she says, oh yeah, I know one of those soul fragments. It's in one of these books. But I don't know which one it is, so you can kind of search. Well, when you start searching, you're going to come across a scissor swarm. So think about that. It's a swarm of scissors snapping away, trying to cut you. That's pretty clever and sounds really nasty. If you attack her for some reason, which is not great, it's going to take you a real long time to find this piece. But if you defeat the scissor swarm, it takes 3 hours for the PCs and Laney working together to find the right book. And so you'll find another piece. You've got number 2. And even here, it'd been cool to have a little symbol of a puzzle piece to let you know that's part of the soul. So decent room. It's got 2 secret doors. One's going out here through one of these bookcases, and one that's underneath her bed. You may have gone around here and you come to an empty door. There's really no explanation about this secret door here on this side if you come down like that. But it'll open up to this room 1-9, which is an interesting room. It's the treasure room. So this is a treasure room with a bunch of empty chests and these empty like glass containers, like trophy cases. What you've got to do, there's also a huge locked door. It's a big vault door. What you've got to do is you've got to put your own items in the display case in order for this door to slowly start opening up. So it's got to be something substantial, meaningful, or magical. So it says a coin would not do, but all the coins the character carries would if it leaves them penniless. So stuff like that. A warrior's lucky weapon, tarot cards from a former fortune teller, things of, some substantial, like it says. Well, it'll start opening up this door, and you're like, oh, great, okay, we're opening up this door. Well, this freak comes out and tries to kill you. It's the Thief of Flesh. Absolutely horrible. Cool art by Bradley McDevitt. He's very cool. And he's done a bunch of art for the OSR. It says the Thief of Flesh is a love mutant whose love for their fellow man has been corrupted into a horrifying desire to become others by absorbing their flesh. So it has various attacks and stuff that it does that's going to give it more hit points as it absorbs your flesh into it. So that's good. And there's also going to be one of the pieces in here, the puzzle pieces. So you need that. So we've got 3 now, I believe. Yep, we've got 1, 2, 3. And then we've got the Nighthawk bar. So that's going to be over here on 110. So maybe you found it up like this. Or in the very first room there, really 1-3. I call this the first room because it's the real first room with really anything going on with it. You could go through this door. And through this door, it'll lead you to this little door here. And then you're going to be in this Nighthawk bar. You've got these love mutants. This lady is the bar keep right here, and she is washing, some glasses. And these guys are being assholes, the smoking men. They've got constant smoke bellowing out their mouth as they're giving her what for, as they're just full of rage. Well, you could try to do something with them, maybe make them stop or whatever. You're probably going to end up trying to kill these guys, and that's a good thing. They shoot out of their mouths flaming rat vomit. It's literally a rat that's like on fire as they spew it from their mouth. It's very interesting. And then when you attack them and cut their skin, their flesh, rats will come up out of the wounds. So, an interesting creature. And a lot of these rooms explain kind of what the theme is when it comes to being about love and so on. So, these guys will be killed, and that's great. And she'll get a phone call if you do that. And it says if they successfully defeat or get rid of the smoking men, a red telephone materializes and rings. There's a lot of stuff that kind of like materializes. And it says, okay, you got a message to go downstairs, and you're going to use the secret door behind the jukebox. When you go downstairs, you'll come to the doorkeeper. Now, I'm not going to say his name. It's absolutely insane. He looks like a normal dude, except he's walking on the ceiling. The gravity is different for him, but luckily his face is upside down on his head, so he still looks like he's normally talking to you with his face. So if you've gotten rid of these guys, another piece of the puzzle of the soul will show up, kind of floating in front of you and attached to your other pieces. So now we've got 4. So we're looking good. And if you don't kill those dudes, he's just kind of, he's kind of like, he doesn't really know a whole bunch. He's like, the next room, don't go in there. I don't know why. But if you are able to get rid of those smoking men, he knows exactly why. That it's pretty much a trap. The spiral stairs here go on forever. And you don't want to do that. There are some ways, either magically or mechanically, to get back up, but it's quite tough. And I can see some player characters really getting frustrated in this room here. Every once in a while, there's a landing that's got some, I think it's got some water, or let's see, it's got some water. Oh, a pitcher of water and a dish of olives on a little table, and maybe little couches and stuff like that. So they think that they're making some progress, but they're not. This thing is just a terrible trap. Now you go into the unspeakable library, which is down here, and you're going to face this thing, the Syntax Vandal. She's very nasty. She immediately attacks you. She's got one arm. She's got mouths all over her face, where other things should be, and on her arm. She can also shoot out these gabbling maws, which are just like these maws that appear with a wide protruding mouth full of sharp teeth, and it appears on random surfaces. And so it can be on a table, on a door, on the ground, whatever, on you. And it can just start chomping on you. So watch out. She's a very nasty fight. I'd say this is kind of the boss fight. She doesn't really know what's happened. Anytime you beat these things, they don't really know what happened because they're a love mutant and they're like, oh, they wake up out of them and they're like, oh, what the hell happened? Like they revert back to their own self. She's got some spells as well. She's just nasty. Now you can see all this is pretty much used how she can teleport and do a whole bunch of stuff like that. So she's quite a fierce opponent. Well, in this room, too, are these sonnets. It's this sonnet that's written up on the wall. And it's all discombobulated. It's all messed up. And so you've got to have someone try to figure it out, the sonnet puzzle. And so that's interesting. She will trance back into her form should you figure out the puzzle. And she's just a normal, unassuming guard. And then once you have all 5 pieces, you go back. The curse is lifted from every realm. And you can also possibly get him as part of he might become your patron if you want him as a patron. So I'm going to tell you about, there's a section here that says what you want to do afterwards. Maybe she'll take him back, or take him, actually consider that Durgadella, actually consider being with him. But she's going to want something, a task that the player characters have to do. So a little bit of just like an extra little story stuff here. So you've got the appendix of the snow globe of missing souls. This is going to, the PCs can look in here and see who their soulmate is. There are benefits to who their soulmate might be. So that's kind of cool. And then you've got the sonnet puzzle. So here's the whole sonnet puzzle here. And these are, and what you can do is you can take this player handout, get the PDF, cut these out. You can see this is obviously going to start it. And then you have to understand how a sonnet works, how its rhyming scheme is, and have somebody try to figure out what this sonnet is. And it's a neat thing, is what DCC does a lot, is give you something kind of physical to Jenga around with in order to figure something out, but it's part of the adventure. So, and that's really it. There's a write-up here about Brendan, and about some great pictures from some of the conventions, and then we've got more of the Valentine's Day stuff. So a neat adventure. Again, it's wacky. It's very DCC-ish. It's got all those tropes that we know. It's got a nipple. It's got tongue play there. It's got Harley looking at you like, what you looking at me for? It's a neat little adventure. I think you could get this done in one convention set, block, with your friends, 4 hours or so like that. You should definitely have some fun with it, but we'll have some frustrating things, I think, for the players. They want to try to do something. The clown, they might sit there and be like, oh, I don't know what he's saying, let's just kill him, or let's walk away, and they won't get that benefit. So DCC does that a lot. They give you a hanging carrot that you don't understand. And then, if you're able to figure it out and not go straight to your weapons, it may pay off for you. So there it is, Love Mutants of Castle Heartache. Check it out, see what you think about it. It was cool, once again, to read a new Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure. I did Dungeon Crawl Classics videos a while back, and there were some of my first ones I did. And this one definitely is an interesting one. Definitely, maybe you can run this on Valentine's Day with the cards and hand those out. Have a lot of fun with this one. So there it is, Love Mutants of Castle Heartache. Thanks.